you were going through a whole lot of other shit too, like as I recall. So you were in real life actually juggling a whole lot of stuff as well as on the TV show.
Oh man, Mark, it was a 3-month military operation just to get me on set. Like what happened before that, just to get me there, is crazy because I didn't want any turmoil or upset for my son. I wanted everything for him to be like clockwork because, as you would know, consistency is king when it comes to children, habits, routines, and rituals. It's the same for business, it's the same for fitness. Definitely the same for children. So I didn't want him to have any kind of extra turmoil in his life. He had his school, he had his home, he had his habits and routines. So, here I am having to go to Sydney, 1.5 hours away from where we live, and be on a show that required big hours. So I got a lady that used to live in the same street in Potts Point. She used to babysit for me since Axel was 4 months old. She's like 69. I know she was 70 actually. And I said to her, will you come and live with me? She goes, really? And I said, yeah, have a think about it. But she said, I'll do it. So I said, well, you need to drive. I said, can you drive? And she said, I can drive, but I haven't driven for 10 years. I'm like, that's okay. We'll deal with that. So I hired her a car. I got her down. I hired her a car. I got her behind the wheel, got her confidence up, got her driving him to school because it's like a 20-minute drive on a highway and country roads. Got her doing that, like organised him with her, did all the other things that I need to organise. And then by the time it was for me to go, she was in the house and driving him to school. And she said, thank you so much. You've given me my confidence back. I never thought I would drive again. And now here I am. So, yeah, she was driving a big Toyota Kluger. And then she would come in. I'd go home and then she'd come with me into town. And we had an apartment in town and she'd stay in town with him because he was only 3 days at school at that time. So I was having more time with him. So his life stayed the same and I was in it a lot. So I didn't just disappear. So all of this had to happen for me to be on the show.
And that's pretty good sort of pretty good proxy for the way, generally speaking, way people should conduct business because at the end of the day, what you were doing in the Celebrity Apprentice wasn't some sort of weird frolic of your own where you're just sort of, going in there to have a bit of fun. I mean, there's business reasons behind why people do the Celebrity Apprentice a lot of the times. And you got to look after everybody when you're in business, whether you're doing the Celebrity Apprentice or you're just running a shop, a cafe, it doesn't matter, or you're just affected by COVID and you have to go somewhere else to do whatever it is you're doing. Or even if you've got to stay home and run your business from home. You got to plan for all those other things around you and work out what's important, how to prioritize these things. So that's a pretty good example of, because people wouldn't look at Michelle Bridges and go, oh, wow, she has to look after a kid and plan for those sorts of things and ring up a 70-year-old friend to come down and organise a Kluger to drop him to school.
I was also still running my businesses at the same time. And I've got a great team and I've got a great management group. But I still have to be there. I still have to be under the hood and making sure that I'm, across what's going on. So there was all of that going on in the background as well, as even though they just said, Mish, just go and do the show. We got it. It's okay. So I felt confident with that. But, it's true. Like even with my 12-week body transformation business, we had decided, I'd been thinking about moving the office for probably 6 months. I knew it needed to happen. We needed to move spaces because the space that we had was just too big for us. We just didn't need it. And it was a cost that I could reduce within the business. We still need an office. It's important for my team to come together and be together at times during the week. But we can also do this work from home. So anyway, I finally sort of got up the gumption to move a 7-year-old office that's been there for 7 years. You can only imagine how much stuff we had. It was a massive undertaking to do the move, plus still run the business and have it all operating smoothly. We got it done and we moved out of our office and home while I negotiate the new office. I just said, everybody go home. Let's catch our breath. You work from home. I'll negotiate the new office and then we'll go there. Now, we moved out of the office on the Friday, and on the Saturday, Sydney went into lockdown.
Huh.
I was like, someone was looking out for me. So we're still at home, working from home. we had pre-prepared that 3 months earlier. So everybody just hit the ground running when they got there. And it was just a stroke of luck that it just happened that way. I mean, obviously there's no luck in going into a lockdown, but just the way that it rolled out. So everybody's obviously still working from home now, and who knows how long that's going to be for. So I got, the last day of the office, everyone was already working from home by Thursday. The Friday was the last of the removalists. And then Saturday, Sydney went into lockdown.
So many years ago, I read a book. Well, I was actually given the book. I went for, I was really pretty young. I was in my late 30s or something. And I had to go for an insurance stress test, where they put you on the running machine and they hook you up with all these things. And I got through it, no dramas, etc. And anyway, I was talking to the dude there who was like a heart specialist or something like that. And he said to me, I said, why do you call these things stress? He said, we're stressing the heart. He said, because I thought it was meant as a test about how stressed out you are. That's because I was only young. And he said to me, well, that's not what this is about. This is about stressing your heart and see how your heart responds. But he did start to talk to me about the effect of stress on us. And he gave me this book to read, or he referred me to this book, and I read the book. I don't remember the name of it. I don't remember the author, but in this particular book, they give you a point score. There's a point scoring system, and it's like up to 11 and a half. And there's a half point here or a point there. And they give they tell you various things in your life that can occur, and they attribute points to those. And if you get to 11, I think it was, then the outcome is that you would expect within the 12 months following that period, a physical trauma of some type. So you might have a heart attack, you might have a physical breakdown, whatever, some sort of physical trauma. It could be a back injury or something like that. And they had done a lot of studies on this and saying that, and some of the things that they talked about, for example, when you just mentioned them, one was changing jobs. And there was like 2 points associated with that. Getting married, it doesn't have to be bad stress.
Yeah, moving house, moving office.
Moving house, having a child or a divorce, starting a new job. And, I guess COVID wasn't around those days, but, putting up with COVID probably.
Global pandemic.
Probably is about, global pandemic probably should be 5. So, but when I think about what's happened in your life in the last 12 months, you've had the breakup.
Oh man, I've had everything. My girlfriend, one of my girlfriends, right? She's like, "Oh, Mishy, you've had such a tough year. You've had everything that you could have possibly, all those big moments in your life. You've had them all happen in almost at the same time, simultaneously." And another one of our friends, this is before we had to not be. That's just before we could come together. She's like, "Oh, I don't feel like I want to come to the barbecue this afternoon because I'm feeling not good about the fact that I've put on COVID weight." And my girlfriend Louise goes, "Oh, don't worry. Like, Michelle's coming and her life is shit right now. So, it can't be any worse than that." I said, "Thanks, Lou."
Well, but how is it that you don't only look to me like someone who's, you look like you're glowing. You look like, to me, you're actually thriving. To me, I don't know. Maybe you're a fucking great actor or something. I don't know what the deal is, but like you look really good. And I don't know. Maybe Michelle Bridges can debunk the theory that I read 30 years ago. But you look really good. So, but what's your secret? What do you do? Like, how do you deal with this shit? I mean, like, what do you? Is it training? Is it food? Or is it a combination of everything? Or is it is it your relationship with your little boy? I mean, how old is he now, by the way? I don't know, maybe it's 10 years ago I saw him. I don't know. How old is he now?
He's 5.5. So he was about 2.5, I think, or 2 when in 2018, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, but I remember seeing you guys in Woolies or something like that.
Seen us down the street, yeah.
Yeah, walking up and down Macleay Street, something like that. But like, what are the elements that Michelle Bridges consciously looks at? Do you meditate? I mean, what are the things you do? What do you do? What would you tip to other business people?
I do meditate, but like I'm no guru at it, and I'm pretty shit at it sometimes because my mind wanders. It's like my mind is like herding cats, you just get on track and then you go again. So I use an app sometimes to help me with that. And I think my exercise is probably my time where I have a form of meditation, I suppose.
Yeah.
But really, in those dark times, and they were dark, Mark, like, fuck. I can imagine. It was pretty shit. And it just kept getting shitter. I really needed my family, and I really needed my friends, and I reached out because my friends know what I'm like too, because they're like, when stuff goes down for me or things get tough, I sometimes isolate myself. I tend to do that. And they all know that about me, and they're like, we're not letting you go on this one, girl. You're staying with us. And they just kept throwing that lifeline out to me all the time. And the other thing that I realized too, I suppose, when it was really, I felt so just in a fog, is that for the first time in my life, I'm going to allow myself to be completely vulnerable and take in the support and the overwhelming support that came to me. And it was beautiful. It was like, without sounding like all spiritual, it was actually eye-wateringly beautiful. Like, it made me cry just how much people want to open themselves up to you and give themselves to you to help you when they see that you're down. And it's okay to let them in. That was a big thing for me, a big thing.
Is that something you would not normally do?
No. I mean, I'm a very personable person, and I'm friendly, and I'm upright, and I, rally the troops. That's what I'm good at. The camaraderie of sport, in training, of business. But I guess there's a part of me that keeps it very shut down, very closed. And I'm no therapist, but I'm pretty sure that probably goes back to childhood. It's like the same for all of us, right? We've all got those little things that we do. And I think it's important to acknowledge it, recognize it, accept it. That's part of me. It's part of you, whatever your thing is. But it's nice to kind of be able to dial it down and be vulnerable. And that's probably not something that I've often done in my life.
Well, there are people right now, as you would well appreciate, who are struggling with the whole lockdown, blah, 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 the whole thing. And as you know, when these things happen, you run out of money, then all of a sudden everything else becomes an issue too. Relationships can become an issue. Your relationship with your children can become an issue. Your staff, your relationship with yourself, you start to doubt yourself and or blame yourself and or, I don't know, you feel like you've lost something. And those people who are listening to this, and maybe they could get something out of what Michelle just said. What would you say to them though right now, Michelle? What would you say to these people? Would you say, let's get angry and go riot and go up and down the street and protest? Or would you say, take a breath and or start exercising, build your own regime and routine and stop worrying about what everyone else is talking about? What would you say to those people who are out there suffering right now?
Look, this is the thing, like when these kinds of things go down, I mean, we don't often have a global pandemic, but when, something big in the world happens, I feel like everybody becomes the next big self-help guru, and they all get online, because that's where we are. We're in the world of social media. Everybody gets online and starts sprouting, all the good things that they should be doing to look after themselves. And it's what part of me goes, that's great, and I should probably be doing part of that because that's what I do. But another part of me thinks, fuck that. Like, who am I to tell someone how to, dust themselves off when they've just lost their job and they're fighting with their partner and their kids are running amok and they're trying to homeschool. Like, who am I to sit here and go, oh, let me just tell you how to live your life and make it better? Like, do you know what I mean?